You work day, you don't got shit. Thank you for working so hard so I can be home all day, free. I can use my EBT. Go to work for me, white boy, white girl. Yeah, go to work for me, you fucking white animals. Fucking work for me. Yeah, you fucking work for me. And the U.S. government they work for me. All of you work for me. Now go to work. Pay them taxes. Take care of me and my people. Alright? This is my land. I control this place. This is my reality. You all gonna be enchained. I'm gonna lock all you guys up if you don't pay your taxes. You better fucking pay your taxes.
Look at their nation. Look how bad their nation is. It's not even a nation. It's just people walking around killing each other. They've taken billions and billions of dollars. They have a representative, Ilhan Omar, who they say married her brother. It's a fraud.
And according to the Secretary, Kristi Noem of DHS, she said nearly 50% of the visas are fraudulent in this community. I mean, that would mean that half the Somali refugees are here in some way illegally. What's going to happen? Is something actually going to happen? Are there going to be people stripped of their visas, deported? Are we going to see that?
Absolutely. I mean, those days are over. Thank God.
Did you hear what that first guy said? You work for me. Enerve. Looking straight into the camera and mocking the very people who fund his paycheck and his lifestyle. That kind of arrogance only exists when there are zero consequences. But here's the difference now. The free ride is over. For the first time in a long time, someone is actually willing to confront the root of the problem instead of dancing around it with talking points and excuses. Today, we're reacting to Tom Homan taking the gloves off and saying what most politicians are too afraid to say about Ilhan Omar and the broken system that made this entire mess possible. No spin. No excuses. Just accountability. Let's get into it.
The border czar, Tom Homan, joins us tonight to talk about Minnesota as well as a number of other issues. And, sir, it's good to have you back on the show. Trump mentioning the Daily Mail reporting from 2020 that Ilhan Omar married her brother to get into the country. This was last week. Take a listen.
Look at their nation. Look how bad their nation is. It's not even a nation. It's just people walking around killing each other. They've taken billions and billions of dollars. They have a representative, Ilhan Omar, who they say married her brother. It's a fraud.
Calls that a fraud. It's a story that has never been successfully refuted, even though it's now a 5-year-old story. That's clearly a deportable offense. Is there an investigation into that?
You know, I just got advised by a fraud investigator the other day on that. I asked the question, who reviewed the file and says, there was immigration fraud involved. The statute of limitation became an issue in the last 4 years when this was first brought up. Who was president? Who ran DOJ? So pulling the records now, pulling the files, and we're looking at, but this fraud investigator, who I know personally, one of the best fraud investigators in HSI, Homeland Security Investigations, said there's no doubt he reviewed the file. So I'm running that down this week, matter of fact, and we'll see.
This segment simply reinforces what many have believed for years. The political establishment looked the other way on Ilhan Omar's immigration history. And only now, under Trump's leadership, is anyone willing to actually investigate it.
It's tremendous that, I mean, and according to the Secretary, Kristi Noem of DHS, she said nearly 50% of the visas are fraudulent in this community. I mean, that would mean that half the Somali refugees are here in some way illegally. What's going to happen? Is something actually going to happen? Are there going to be people stripped of their visas, deported? Are we going to see that?
Absolutely. I mean, those days are over. Thank God President Trump's in the White House. We're going to look at all of them. I mean, we're going to look at those here illegally, of course. We're going to look at those here under a visa or some sort of, immigration process that are criminals. We're going to look at the national security threats. But those who came through a process that weren't properly vetted, who didn't provide documentation, who slipped through the Biden's weak processes on, giving visas and temporary, whether student visas or visitors visas or whatever. We're going the whole gamut. President Trump has instructed us go down and we're going to deep dive all of this. And we're going to hold people accountable. So yes, there are going to be multiple deportations coming. Absolutely.
Newsmax reports that nearly 50% of visas are fraudulent in this community. suggesting that a large portion of Somali refugees may have entered the U.S. through fraud. The segment also highlights concerns that the community is failing to assimilate, is hostile to American culture, and relies heavily on government assistance. Points emphasized by the hosts and some Republican figures as justification for stricter immigration enforcement and accountability.
There's so many claims of a racist element to this story, and when we're talking about a certain subsection of refugees into this country, but it bears reminding to people that it wasn't very long ago at all that Americans expected that people that came to our country would contribute to the cause, would assimilate to our culture and to who we are. And we're just not seeing that at all in this community. We're seeing a community that's largely hostile to our culture, wants to bring in an Islamic culture into our nation, while doing so and staying vastly on the dole, on some kind of assistance, taking more than they contribute. Knowing all of that, here's Ilhan Omar on our immigration system under this president and the job that you're doing.
This is certainly not what the founding fathers of the American dream were thinking about when they said, you know, that when they set out to write the Constitution.
What's your reaction to that?
Unlike the Biden administration, we're following the Constitution. We're enforcing the law. We're not ignoring the law. And you're right. The proper, assimilation is important, and it's going to be required. Not only that, when they come here on a legal program, they're required to be self-sufficient. They have to prove they're self-sufficient. So a lot of them, first thing they're doing to get here is get on the public dole. President Trump put his foot down, and like I said earlier, we're doing a deep dive on thousands and thousands of files, and we'll hold people accountable. I'm so tired of them pulling the race card all the time,
right.
Because we're doing this racist. ICE has arrested people from 180 different countries. Europe, Asia, South America.
Every color.
They're not just arresting brown and black people, they're arresting people from all over the world. The immigration enforcement is colorblind. There's one thing that matters to us. Did they follow the immigration law? Are they here legally? Did they break the law once they became here, either illegally or legal? It doesn't matter. Yeah. So we're following the law. That's all that matters to us. Title 8 United States Code, Title 18 United States Code, the Immigration Nationality Act, what that says, we're enforcing without apology. That's the way it's supposed to be. As a member of Congress, she should respect that we're enforcing the laws that Congress enacted.
Yeah, and does anybody buy that the founding fathers were trying to set up a welfare state for African refugees in this country? I don't think anybody's believing that argument at all.
Tom Homan emphasized that under President Trump, ICE is reviewing all immigration cases, including those who entered illegally, committed crimes, or came through improperly vetted visa programs. He stressed that legal immigrants must be self-sufficient and that enforcement is colorblind, targeting people from all countries who violate U.S. law. Homan criticized claims of racism, reiterated that assimilation is important, and defended strict enforcement of immigration laws, arguing that current policies reflect the Constitution and are not intended to establish a welfare state for refugees.
I want to play our next mayor here in New York, Mamdani, giving out advice on how to evade you.
But we can all stand up to ICE if you know your rights. If you encounter ICE, these are the things that every New Yorker should know. First, ICE cannot enter into private spaces like your home, school, or a private area of your workplace without a judicial warrant signed by a judge. ICE is legally allowed to lie to you, but you have the right to remain silent. If you're being detained, you may always ask, "Am I free to go?" repeatedly until they answer you. You are legally allowed to film ICE as long as you do not interfere with an arrest.
Your thoughts on that?
We know the law better than anybody, and we're going to keep enforcing the law in New York. We're there today. We're there right now doing operations. We'll be there tomorrow. We're going to keep doing what we're doing. We're arresting public safety threats every day. And because we're forced in the community, because places like New York City is a sanctuary jurisdiction, when they force us in the community to find the public safety threat and national security threats, many times they're with others. Others that may not be a public safety threat, but they're in the country legally. Well, guess what? They're coming too. So educate these people all you want. We know the law, and we're going to keep doing what we're doing. We're breaking records every day. Already have historic deportation numbers. Already have an historic secure border. So we're going to keep pushing the Trump agenda, keeping Trump's promise to American people, make this country safe again, one illegal alien criminal at a time.
The segment highlighted advice from New York officials on dealing with ICE, including rights like requiring a judicial warrant to enter private spaces, the right to remain silent, and the ability to film agents without interfering. Tom Homan responded by emphasizing that ICE knows the law and will continue enforcing it in sanctuary cities like New York, targeting public safety and national security threats. He claimed historic deportation numbers and border security achievements, framing these actions as part of fulfilling Trump's immigration agenda and keeping the country safe.
Last question, and it's something that we don't actually talk about too much because right now it feels unneeded because they're doing such a great job at the border. How's the wall going? I mean, is the wall going to be finished in this president's term when he leaves, and maybe we get a Democrat in 2028 potentially? Are we going to have a border that can't be, we're not going to have to worry about?
Contractors on the wall right now. That is the plan. Matter of fact, I'm leaving this week to go look at a couple of sections of the wall that are currently under construction. So yeah, thanks to Congress, that big, beautiful bill, we got the wall funding. Contracts are signed and additional ones are being signed. We're going to finish that wall.
You're going to finish that wall. I'd love to hear that.
This part highlights an issue that a lot of people have felt strongly about for a long time. Many believe that questions surrounding Ilhan Omar's immigration background were ignored by those in power. For years, the political leadership chose not to take a closer look or ask serious questions. Now, with new direction coming from President Trump, the topic is finally getting real attention. Supporters say this is the first time anyone has been willing to examine the matter in a fair and open way. They feel it is important to review these concerns carefully so the public can have clear and honest answers.